Hey guys, I'm just going to look at two passages here real quick, but really I want to focus in on the overall theme of these passages and not the specific verses themselves. We look at Isaiah 40 verse 31. It says, "But they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." Another passage is Psalm 27 verse 14. Says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong, let your heart take courage, wait for the Lord." And if you haven't kind of figured it out already, the theme that we're going for here is just waiting on the Lord. For somebody like me, this is probably the most difficult thing for me to accept, because I'm the type of person that when something needs to be done, I'm looking to move hell or high water and make that happen. Patience is not something that comes naturally to me. It's something that God is continually working on in me. But the idea of waiting on the Lord is something that is extremely difficult to me. And just even in my reading these last few weeks is something that God has kind of impressed on me, and He kind of revealed some things that had previously even just gone over my head. You know how sometimes you'll read a passage and a certain part of it, you just kind of read through it, you hear the words, you understand what it's saying, but it has no personal application to you, at least at that moment. God kind of took some things and made them apply to me now. The idea of waiting on the Lord is important, not just because God is going to accomplish things in His time frame according to His will and His purposes, which ultimately, yes, that does happen, and as believers, even when we read, Jesus's model prayer, the idea is that Thy will be done, which basically kind of encompasses the idea that not just what you want to have done, but when you want to have it done, and that is something that we need to kind of get behind. But the idea of waiting on the Lord is important, because ultimately what it does is it is the best that we can do to tell God that we believe that what He says is going to come to pass is going to come to pass. The idea of trying to make things happen is really our way of saying, God, I don't believe that You're going to do this. I don't believe that You're going to accomplish this, so I'm going to take it on myself and make this happen. And we see this exemplified really no better circumstance than in the case of Abraham and Sarah and the birth of Isaac. The idea is that Abraham and Sarah had to wait an extremely long time. They had to wait on the Lord. And yes, it had to do with their time frame and so on and so forth, but I believe that in that time frame leading up to that God was actually doing a work in their heart to show them patience and trust. And I said it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it will happen when I think, or when I say it's going to happen. But ultimately we see the manifestation of the fact that both Abraham and Sarah were not truly believing that God was going to do what He said He was going to do, because though their belief and their waiting, though it did go on for a period of time, it ultimately failed in the point that they tried to take it on themselves, which means that they ultimately just got tired of waiting and said, this is something that I'm going to do on my own. And we see the results of that even today as the Arabs and the Jews, continue to go at each other, with Ishmael being the father of the Arabs. The idea is that by waiting on the Lord, it is the best that we could possibly do to tell the Lord that I believe that You're going to do what You say You're going to do. It is our most sacred offering to Him, because of all the things that we could potentially offer. All of them already belong to God. The thing that we can give Him that is truly from us is our belief, our faith, our trust, and that is really embodied in the idea that we wait on Him, that He said He was going to accomplish something, and we're going to wait until you accomplish what it is that you said you were going to accomplish. I'm going to continue believing and trusting that at some point you're going to accomplish what you said you would. So ultimately, whether we're talking about something that God has laid on your heart pertaining to work, whether we're talking about something that God has laid on your heart, maybe about salvation or about your health or whatever the situation may be, ultimately, waiting on the Lord is one of our greatest sacrifices that we can offer to Him, is to continue to wait and to continue to trust and to believe, and that ultimately is one way in which that we can offer our hearts to God. So anyway, wanted to share that with you guys today. God bless.